Shalom from Yerushalayim, everyone. I have to start and say that I think after seeing this choir, Jerusalemites deserve to see this choir. Mr. Ambassador Arthur Lenk, Erwin Kotler, the Canadian Member of Parliament and former Justice Minister, my dear friend Natan Sharansky, the Chairman of the Jewish Agency for Israel, Avishai Braverman, Member of Knesset, the Chairman of and the leadership of the South African Zionist Federation, Avrum Krengel. I'm amazed and thank you for hosting me last night at your home. Rabbi Warren Goldstein, members of South African Parliament, members of the diplomatic community, dear friends, I am indeed honored to be here in South Africa and being part of your 48th South African Zionist Federation Conference. I have to admit I'm impressed, and I feel like a distant, probably not a distant partner to your event and your doing. I myself am engaged and involved in communal life like you for many, many years. I myself, like you, believe in relationship between our own internal communities back home in Jerusalem and the diaspora communities. Being married to ex-South African born here in Johannesburg, my wife Beverly, I really understand your culture quite extensively at home. And that's why when I come here with my wife, I identify and feel extremely comfortable and home. With your permission, the world is confused. The radical Islam is popping up everywhere around the world. And when people look at what is really happening in the Middle East, one thing is certain, and that's uncertainty. And nobody can actually predict. There's a joke, they say that in the Middle East it's hard to predict the past. And when people actually look around Israel, the massacre happening in Syria, ISIS taken over many, many states, the Hamas in Gaza, the instability in Egypt and sometimes in Jordan. When you look at what is happening in Syria and Iraq and Lebanon, when you heard, hopefully everyone heard here, the special, unique speech that Prime Minister Netanyahu gave at the Congress, about the threats that Iran poses, not only to Israel. We are probably in the same line as the United States and the Western world. We may be first in line, but we're exactly on the same line of Iran and other enemies of the state of Israel that want to destroy us. However, there's an island of sanity called Israel in the Middle East. And in it, the crown jewel, our Yerushalayim. And with your permission, I would like to share a little bit more, and an optimistic note, what is happening in the only Jewish state in the world, the only capital, the united capital of the state of Israel, Yerushalayim. For those of you who don't know, Jerusalem is going through a strong cultural renaissance in the last few years. We have huge, amazing opportunities, and I'd like to share some of that with you. Naturally, probably the best way to do that, to best understand our vision into the future, I'd like to take you back 3,000 years. When the people of Israel left Egypt and came to the land of Israel, the land was divided to the different 12 tribes. Each tribe received a piece of land, its territory. Look at the old maps. You've got them on the screen. Except the city of Jerusalem. The city of Jerusalem, by design, was not given to a specific tribe. And for 1,000 years, it was governed by the kings. Naturally, the Temple Mount in its center. And all tribes felt extremely comfortable coming to Yerushalayim because they felt that we all own it in the same manner. Mind you, there were no Christians at the time. The Christians came 1,000 years later. Muslims came 1,600 years later. You know the phrase, Yerushalayim osa kol Israel chaverim. My interpretation, hopefully the rabbi would agree with me, the extended interpretation for that phrase is because at any given moment in Yerushalayim you had members from all different tribes, Jews and non-Jews alike. They were all present not as a guest of a tribe, but as peers. Now that is the only place in the world at the time that people felt peer and felt a feeling of belonging. And that atmosphere created all people friends. Jerusalem had an important, significant role in the world as a center of the world. I'd like to also share with you the phrase, the expanded explanation of the phrase, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. From Zion, new Torah comes out. It's not only holy initiatives. Anything that was successful in Yerushalayim was immediately transferred to the whole world because the guests that were there said, if it works here and it's accepted by members of all tribes in the city of Jerusalem, that actually means that we all accept it, and de facto standards were defined in the city of Jerusalem. Hopefully you agree with me that that role is unique and does not exist anywhere else in the world but our city, Jerusalem. Now, if you deeply understand that role Jerusalem played 3,000 years ago, you understand my vision, you understand our future to the amazing city of Jerusalem. It's comprised of 830,000 residents, about 1 million people in the metropolitan Jerusalem, about 65% Jewish, 2% Christian, and 33% Muslim. And naturally, today in Jerusalem, we're not only the capital of the Jewish people, which is about 15 million plus minus, give and take 15 million people, but actually 4 billion people of faith want to come to Jerusalem at least once in their lifetime. And what we do have in our city, which was, by the way, for 2,000 years, was dysfunctional. And I remember I was 7 years old in the '67 war. I remember how it was before. Listen to the stories of our parents, of the threats, the ability that the Jews could not go to the holy places. And in turn, Avram talked about the different people that conquered the city of Jerusalem in the 2,000 years of our history. At those times, never was Jerusalem functional. So after '67, when the city was reunited, we're now capable of continuing and developing the vision that we all strive for, connecting our past into our future. Now, as you know, today, Jerusalem has real freedom of religion for all people from all faiths. Naturally, the Jews can go to the Jewish sites. The Christians, there's one safe haven in the Middle East for Christians, and that is Israel and Jerusalem. I regularly meet the heads of the churches in the city, speak to them, serve them, discuss their needs, think together with them, how do we bring millions of Christians safely to our city, and honor them and respect them like nowhere else in the Middle East. And of course, the Muslim population. Pending no security threats. A year and a half ago in Ramadan, we had over 1 million people coming to the Temple Mount to pray safely. And they returned home very happy, served in the city of Jerusalem. So what do we do now? How do we take that potential that I talked about at the beginning and exploit it? I set a goal to bring to Jerusalem 10 million tourists a year. I set that goal when we were 2 million tourists a year, 7, 8 years ago. Mind you, that if Rome could do 40, New York could do 50 million, and Paris could do 60 plus, there's no reason in the world why Jerusalem, with such potential, cannot get to 10. Well, we've got to a run rate of 4 million tourists a year, and there's no doubt in my mind we'll achieve that goal. But in order to achieve that goal, what we've done was clustered culture and tourism together. And I want to show you some of the events that we had in the last 5, 6 years. You may have seen what you have in the picture, the music festival and the light festival in the Old City. In the last 3 years, the festival drew 300,000 visitors to all 4 quarters of the Old City and changed the attitude and the psychology of going to the Old City, which is now thriving and waiting for more and more guests. Concerts and street parties in the Sultan's Pool. What you see are pictures of thousands and thousands of street parties done in the public domain, where the residents of the city of Jerusalem go to the different parks. It's open with a bit of security, much less, by the way, than you have here. And people feel great. The marathon. This Friday, I'm going to run the half marathon. I've heard that some people here in the crowd are going to join me. The Jerusalem Marathon this year will have over 25,000 runners going in and out the Old City, seeing the beautiful sights of Jerusalem. And when people see that stream of people running in the streets of the city, it brings a message. The next picture is not bad at all. The Formula One roadshow we had in our city 2 years in a row brought over 200,000 people to the streets of the city. And if you go and look at the crowd, you see Muslims, Christians, ultra-Orthodox people. People that love cars come and see the roadshow. Film production. We've been focusing on creating more films in our city. We grew from 5 to over 30% market share of films produced in our city. And this week, or last week, a new series of films about the city of Jerusalem, where the first chapter was actually developed in our city, is now launched in the States, called Dig, inspired by the archaeology of the city of David. And we will see in the near future more and more films about our city, in our city, proposing and showcasing our wonderful potential. All this together creates a halo effect. People that see what's happening in our city understand that the city is more than normal, is attractive. In the last 2 years, Jerusalem surpassed internal tourism. We surpassed Tel Aviv and Haifa, and we're well headed towards that goal of making sure people want to come and spend time in our city. So while we're dealing on the demand side, we're now focusing, there's more things I want to show you. Infrastructure stuff that we're building. The infrastructure that we're building in the city, for example, the expansion of Teddy Stadium. Thanks to the expansion of the Teddy Stadium to 33,000 seats, we were able to host the last Maccabee Games and the next Maccabee Games. Add to that the new arena we just finished building last year, that is the largest in the country. It holds 11,500 seats for basketball games. We are actually going to be finishing our aquarium, the largest in the Middle East, part of the Biblical Zoo, somewhere at the beginning of 2016. We have created one Cinema City that is ready last year, and a new Yes Planet that will be ready next year, or actually this year. And as important, we're building a huge new business district at the entrance of the city of Jerusalem. For those of you who know the Azrieli Center in Tel Aviv, The new business district in the entrance of the city of Jerusalem is 5 times larger. It's 10 million square feet of office space, 2,000 hotel rooms. The largest convention hall in the Middle East, Binyanei Ha'uma, is going to be upgraded. And altogether, we're talking about 13 towers of 35 stories high, very well connected. I'll explain in a second. That can host over 50,000 new employees that the city needs so desperately for its growth. In terms of transportation, you will see that the new light rail from Tel Aviv will be ready at the beginning of 2018, 28 minutes from Tel Aviv, less than 20 minutes from the airport, connecting to the current first light rail that carries over 140,000 people a day, connecting to a new network of light rail system, over 3 lines total. This is a commitment with the national government of over $10 billion in the next 7 to 10 years, positions Jerusalem well ahead of everyone else in terms of public transportation. Naturally, it connects all the workplaces, the bigger neighborhoods, the hospitals, the university, the new sports center that I shared with you. And all in all together, we are now set for growth, both in terms of infrastructure and public transportation and other elements that the city needs in order to scale. I manage Jerusalem with a wide coalition, with a deep belief and deep respect for different constituencies and different religions. We have many events that we host in the municipality where we have visitors from, naturally, from all different religions. Every year we have an opening of the year with the leaders of the Islamic and the Christian communities. And all in all, I believe that working together with the different constituencies, don't read too much CNN, don't listen to too much CNN. Things on the ground are much, much better than people think. We manage Jerusalem with 7 boroughs. People don't know this. The boroughs are geographically defined. There's one standard of managing cleanliness, one standard managing the physical elements of the city. We also have 29 community councils, which are geographically, demographically split within the boroughs. And the idea there is that when we make our municipal planning process every year, we carefully listen to the needs of the different constituencies. So Arab local leadership sometimes have different priorities in what they want than an ultra-Orthodox community or a Zionist community. We serve them all. And we make sure that when we align our planning, it is synchronized with the needs of the residents. We're very fortunate and proud of the changes that are happening in the city in the last 5-6 years. Significant investments in East Jerusalem, in building schools, in building roads, in giving names. We've finalized giving names to all the street names that did not have names. All of this is felt by the majority of the residents of the city. We see from year to year, on average, the municipal budget has been growing over 10% from year to year, including a big jump from 2014 to 2015. We see very nice rise in the number of people employed in our city. We see growth in the hotel industry. Hotel occupancy in Jerusalem grew from 40s to the 70s. And we have, on top of the 10,000 hotel rooms we had, 5,000 applications for additional hotel rooms that will be built in the next few years. I'm extremely happy with the changes in the education system, which is now an asset to the city. Matriculation results has grown from below to above the national average. The number of kids going to youth movements moved from 25 to 44% of the Zionist movement, which is again higher than the national average. We are talking about growth enlistment to the IDF from 70s to 91%, which is again higher than the national average. I'm talking about the Zionist side. These numbers I'm extremely proud of. And as important, look at this number. If from 2001 to 2008, the Zionist movement shrunk in absolute numbers, 12%. That's counting the number of kids in our system, in our education system. Then from 2009 to 2014, we're up 6%. Every year in the last 2 years, including the new one, the coming one, we've been developing 25 new kindergartens, additional from year before to the Zionist movement. We're now growing at the rate of the ultra-Orthodox movement and the Arabs in the city of Jerusalem. First time after over 3 decades. And there's no doubt in my mind that this is great news for the Zionist movement and for the city of Jerusalem. And for those of you who don't know, the Jerusalemites are the happiest people in the country. When you poll the satisfaction among Jerusalemites, you find a very, very high and happy number. And look at this number, crime rates in our city. One to 40. That's the ratio of murders in the city of Jerusalem relative to South Africa. And this is crime and terror together. We're 830,000 people. On an average year, we have 4 to 5 murders a year. Last year was a difficult year. We had 12 murders last year. But all in all, that means that when I fly to South Africa, I pray to come home safely to the city of Jerusalem. I think we're probably doing something right. And I believe that that something right is a deep understanding of where we're headed, a deep connection to our past. We're proposing in Yom Yerushalayim an additional 5-year plan in conjunction with Professor Michael Porter, which is one of the leading thought leaders, academics in the Harvard Business School, of how to excel our high tech and how to excel our growth. We're working with Professor Richard Florida of how to keep the creative people in the city of Jerusalem. We have significant growth in the number of creative people. Just to give you a number, our startups grew from 12 up to 2012 to 40 in 2013 to 120 last year. The largest Israeli IPO, a company called Mobileye, went public in the middle of the war. It's worth $11 billion. That's 500 Jerusalemites, high-tech friends. And all in all, we're working with Michael Bloomberg, with the grants he gave us, to innovate the municipal services and make Jerusalem more competitive. Folks, we have a great opportunity ahead of us. Before I continue or finalize my speech, people ask me though, what about terror? How big of a threat is terror? How much do we suffer from terror? Well, first of all, I think today the world understands that terror is not only a Jerusalem problem, it's not only an Israeli problem, it's a global issue. I flew to Paris and met the mayor of Paris a week after the incidents they had there, the terror attacks they had there. And coming back to Jerusalem, I realized how far ahead our understanding of how to deal with terror is. How very aggressive we should be with the bad guys. And Prime Minister Netanyahu explained that extremely well, what we need to do with Iran. Same with terrorists locally, around our city, or in other places. Israel's in the forefront of dealing with terror. We've developed our strategies. Naturally, the best defense is offense. and keep your enemy busy all the time. And what we do with excellent intelligence, we haunt our enemies. We will not let them rest. Put them on their toes. Make them run. Make them focus on their own defense. On one hand. On the other hand, be extremely good with the good guys. Invest in their Arab neighborhoods in Jerusalem. They want it. They need it. The majority of them don't want the city divided. The majority of them cooperate with us way over and beyond your imagination. And when there's an incident, swiftly and fast, neutralize the threat, and more important, go back to normal life as fast as possible. We had an event, a terror attack 2 days ago on Purim Day. I sent my message from Cape Town. No event was canceled. All Jerusalemites continue with their normal life. And our message to our enemy is that you will not deter us from doing the right thing. And our success and our ability to focus on economic growth and make Jerusalem more attractive for investors is the key to fight our enemies. They will realize one day that the best performance by Arabs are the Arab Israelis that are part of the Israel state. They're doing best in their economy, in their education, in their quality of life. The worst off are those fierce enemies of the state of Israel, Hamas in Gaza and the others that want to destroy us. And so we are very aggressive with the bad guys, as good as we can get with the good guys, and I believe that that strategy is developing those opportunities. Last but not least, folks, you're all shareholders of the city of Jerusalem, and what we're doing is on your behalf, for you, for your children, for your grandchildren. The city of Jerusalem belongs to us all. And as the ambassador said, we're always there for you in times of trouble. But we're developing Jerusalem not just for times of trouble. We're developing our city and our state to be worthy of the best entrepreneurs, best ideas that create a better world, great quality of life and improving. And I believe that today Israel and Jerusalem is becoming a land of opportunity for people that want to make a difference. So I would like to see you not only come and visit, not only send and be part of joint ventures with us on a national level, but also invest. And hopefully some of you will choose Jerusalem not as the last resort, but as the first resort, first place we want to be in. And I'd like to see, I've seen a mission come to, I see many, many missions come to Yerushalayim. Let me just close my remark by saying thank you for your partnership, and I would like to see you בשנה הבאה בירושלים הבנויה. תודה רבה.